Right now, someone you love is quietly stealing your peace, and you've convinced yourself it's normal. What I'm about to show you will make you rethink every close relationship in your life. Stay with me. Every difficult relationship contains a moment you'd rather not acknowledge. The moment when you realize that the people closest to your heart are the ones depleting your strength most significantly. Perhaps it's a family member. Perhaps it's a friend you've known for many years. But something changed along the way. Their words began cutting more deeply. Their presence started feeling more burdensome. And your sense of peace vanishes the instant they enter the room. Here's the reality most individuals avoid confronting directly. You don't have to accept disrespect, manipulation, or emotional exhaustion simply because there's shared history, genetic connections, or accumulated memories together. Stoic philosophy instructs us that your primary obligation is to safeguard your mind, your time, and your inner tranquility, even when that requires walking away from those who believe they're entitled to hurt you. In this discussion, we're going to examine 8 unmistakable signs that indicate it's time to sever ties or establish distance, even with people you once deeply cared about. Not out of rage or bitterness, but out of self-respect and mental clarity. The first sign is they consistently belittle you. There exists a quiet form of damage that doesn't leave physical bruises, but leaves you questioning your inherent value and worth. It manifests in the casual comments, the subtle tones of voice, the little jokes that somehow always penetrate deeper than they should. When someone repeatedly diminishes your accomplishments, ridicules your efforts, or treats your aspirations as immature fantasies, you aren't experiencing love or support. You're experiencing someone who is gradually eroding your sense of self and confidence. Belittling is rarely loud or dramatic. It's not always shouting matches or direct verbal insults. More frequently, it appears in disguised forms that are harder to identify. Sarcasm that stings and lingers, advice that condescends and talks down to you, comparisons specifically designed to make you feel inadequate. You mention something you're genuinely excited about, and they respond with a raised eyebrow and skepticism. You share a plan or dream and they laugh dismissively before you finish explaining. They label it honesty, humor, or keeping you grounded in reality. But notice this crucial detail. Their honesty never uplifts or encourages you. Their humor never protects your dignity. And their grounding never actually helps you develop or grow. Stoic philosophy instructs us that insults reveal more about the person speaking them than the person receiving them. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the behavior and actions of others represent their burden to carry, not yours to internalize. And that an individual who constantly attempts to shrink others is often attempting to conceal their own inadequacy and insecurity. Belittling is projection wearing a disguise. It is insecurity desperately reaching for control. It is envy wearing the deceptive mask of tough love. The genuine danger isn't the insult itself in isolation. It's the normalization and acceptance of it over time. You begin adjusting your voice, your dreams, your personality just to avoid being mocked or ridiculed. You begin choosing silence over excitement because you don't want to experience feeling foolish. You start living far below your true potential simply to maintain superficial peace with someone who has absolutely no desire to witness you rise and succeed. A healthy person celebrates your growth enthusiastically. A grounded friend supports your ambition wholeheartedly. Someone who truly values your presence doesn't need to shrink you to feel tall and significant themselves. When a person belittles you consistently and repeatedly, it's a clear indication of misaligned values and broken respect between you. The Stoic response is not to argue endlessly, defend yourself desperately, or plead for their understanding. It is to observe the pattern objectively, recognize the disrespect clearly, and withdraw your emotional access deliberately. You cannot force someone to treat you better through arguments, but you can choose not to remain in environments where your worth is repeatedly denied and questioned. If someone makes you feel smaller and less than every single time you share your truth, your victories, or your dreams, it's not a genuine relationship. It's a slow demolition of your confidence and self-belief, and the most self-respecting step you can take is to walk away from anyone who benefits from your pain and diminishment. Respect is not negotiable or optional in any relationship. The second sign is they never take responsibility for anything. One of the clearest indicators that a relationship has become fundamentally unhealthy is when the other person refuses to take responsibility for their actions and their impact. You recognize this type of person immediately. Every mistake they make is someone else's fault entirely. Every conflict that arises is because you overreacted to nothing. Every consequence they face is the result of bad luck, unfortunate timing, or bad people surrounding them. Never them, never their choices. When a person constantly avoids accountability at every turn, you're not dealing with simple immaturity. You're dealing with someone who will drain your emotional energy one excuse at a time, slowly but surely. People who never take responsibility are absolute masters of rewriting the story and narrative. They'll twist conversations until they're unrecognizable, deny things they clearly said with witnesses present, shift blame directly onto you without hesitation, or use selective memory to paint themselves as the victim in every scenario. Confront them about something they did, and they'll suddenly act confused or deeply hurt. Hold them accountable for their actions, and they'll accuse you of being dramatic, unfair, or overly sensitive. It's a predictable cycle that repeats. Blame, deflect, guilt trip, repeat endlessly. This behavior is not random or accidental. It's calculated self-protection and ego preservation. Admitting fault requires genuine humility, emotional maturity, and self-awareness about one's flaws. Those who lack these essential qualities would rather distort reality itself than confront their own flaws honestly. Stoic philosophy teaches that an honest person examines their own judgments and behaviors before criticizing others harshly. Epictetus wrote that a wise mind focuses more energy on correcting itself than accusing the world around it. But someone who refuses responsibility does the exact opposite consistently. They protect their fragile ego at the direct cost of your sanity and well-being. Over an extended period, this dynamic conditions you to carry emotional weight that isn't yours to carry. You begin apologizing just to end the conflict quickly. You start questioning your memory, your intentions, even your core character. You feel like you're constantly fixing problems you didn't create, as if keeping the peace is solely your job and responsibility. It's exhausting beyond measure, and worse, it makes you believe you're the unstable one in the relationship. But here's the truth you need to hear. Accountability is a fundamental sign of respect in any relationship. When someone refuses to own their actions and their impact, they are telling you clearly that your feelings, your experiences, and your boundaries don't matter to them. They are showing you definitively that they prioritize their comfort over your well-being every single time. And if they don't carry their part of the relationship's weight, you end up carrying it for both of you until you eventually collapse under the burden. The Stoic response is clarity and observation, not endless conflict. You don't argue with someone who has absolutely no intention of acknowledging truth or reality. You observe their pattern objectively and step back deliberately. You set boundaries that protect your mental space and peace. You stop accepting blame that doesn't belong to you in any way. A relationship without accountability is not a partnership or collaboration. It's a burden you carry alone. And choosing distance from someone who always makes you the problem is not cruelty or meanness. It's self-respect and self-preservation. Blame is their weapon of choice. Clarity is your shield and protection. The third sign is they only come to you when they need something. There exists a certain type of relationship that feels warm and close only when the other person wants something specific from you. Your time, your attention, your emotional labor, your money, or your unwavering support. When they're in trouble, confused, lonely, or bored with life, suddenly you matter immensely. Suddenly, the messages come fast and frequent, the calls are more consistent, the tone is sweeter and more affectionate. But the moment their crisis passes and resolves, they vanish completely. Their warmth disappears without trace. Their interest fades rapidly, and you're left wondering why you always feel useful and needed, but never valued or appreciated. This is not genuine connection or friendship. It is convenience and utility. And convenience is not the foundation of friendship. People who use you often disguise their intentions remarkably well. They may frame it as needing advice urgently, just wanting to talk casually, or reaching out because you're the only one who truly understands them. But pay close attention to the consistent pattern. Do they ever check on you without needing something in return? Do they celebrate your wins and successes, or do they only reach out when they want emotional relief from their own problems and chaos? Do they add anything meaningful to your life, or do they simply take and extract? Stoic philosophy teaches that a healthy relationship is based on mutual contribution, not one-sided extraction of resources. Seneca wrote that true friendship is built on virtue and character, not utility and convenience. Someone who only shows up when it benefits them is not a genuine friend. They are a taker disguised skillfully as one. Their presence in your life is conditional, transactional, and ultimately draining of your resources. The hidden danger in these relationships is how subtly they condition you to become their rescuer and savior. You start answering every call because you feel guilty for not being available. You drop everything to help them, even when you're exhausted and depleted. You emotionally invest in their chaos and drama while they invest nothing in your stability or well-being. And when you finally reach a moment of genuine need yourself, they are nowhere to be found or accessible, or worse, they tell you they're busy, overwhelmed, or can't deal with this right now because they have their own problems. This is the fundamental imbalance that slowly erodes your self-worth and confidence. You start believing your role in people's lives is to fix problems, support endlessly, rescue constantly, and sacrifice your own needs. You forget that you too deserve reciprocity and mutual care. You too deserve someone who cares about your well-being even when they don't need anything from you. The Stoic approach is simple and straightforward. Observe actions consistently, not words occasionally. Someone who values you shows up consistently and reliably, not strategically when convenient. Set firm boundaries with those who take more than they give back. Limit your availability to those who only appear when it's convenient for their needs. And remind yourself regularly that your time, your energy, and your peace are limited resources, not public property for anyone to claim. If someone only knocks on your door when they need something from you, they're not choosing you as a person. They're choosing the benefits of you, and that is not a relationship you must keep or maintain. Your energy is a precious resource. Protect it carefully. The fourth sign is they treat your boundaries like a joke. There is no clearer sign of fundamental disrespect than someone consistently ignoring or mocking the limits you set to protect your peace and well-being. A boundary is not a polite request. It is not a suggestion open for debate. It is a line that defines what is acceptable for you, a line drawn directly from self-respect. But for some people, your boundaries are nothing more than obstacles to overcome. They believe they can push, bend, or laugh their way around them without consequences. These individuals often respond to your limits with dismissive sarcasm. Relax, it's not that serious. You're being dramatic about nothing. I was just joking around. Notice the consistent pattern here. Instead of acknowledging your discomfort, they invalidate it completely. Instead of adjusting their behavior, they try to make you feel guilty for wanting basic dignity and respect. They turn your boundaries into a punchline because respecting them would require self-awareness and emotional maturity, qualities they may not possess or care to develop in themselves. Stoic philosophy teaches that we cannot control how others behave around us, but we can absolutely control what we allow into our lives. Marcus Aurelius emphasized that dignity is something you protect through your actions, not through your words or explanations. A boundary only works effectively when it is enforced consistently, not when it is endlessly explained and justified. When someone repeatedly dismisses your limits, they are not confused about your needs. They are testing you deliberately. And every time you let it slide without consequence, you teach them that the test is worth trying again and again. A dangerous dynamic begins to form in the relationship. You become the one constantly adjusting and accommodating. You soften your tone to avoid conflict and confrontation. You tolerate behavior that drains you emotionally. You start believing that asking for basic respect makes you demanding, difficult, or high maintenance. Before you know it, the entire relationship becomes shaped entirely around their comfort, not your well-being or needs. Healthy people don't do this to those they care about. Healthy people listen attentively when you say clearly, "This hurts me. This stresses me," or "This is not okay with me." They don't question your boundary or demand justification. They honor it because they value the relationship more than the convenience of crossing your line repeatedly. When someone treats your boundaries like a joke or an inconvenience, what they're really saying is, "My preferences matter more than your peace." And no relationship can thrive or survive with that fundamental imbalance. The Stoic response is firm, calm, and action-centered rather than emotion-centered. You set the boundary once, clearly and directly. You observe their behavior pattern closely, and if they continue to disrespect it deliberately, you withdraw access, your time, your attention, your emotional presence. You do not argue endlessly. You do not negotiate indefinitely. You simply protect yourself because the truth is remarkably simple. If someone ignores your boundaries repeatedly, they are not misunderstanding you or your needs. They are revealing themselves and their character. When they refuse to honor your limits, they lose the privilege of your presence in their life. The fifth sign is they feel envious when you succeed. One of the most painful realizations in life is discovering that someone close to you doesn't actually want to see you win and thrive. They may smile when you share good news with them, but you can feel the shift in energy, the stiffness in their voice, the forced enthusiasm, the subtle change in their demeanor. Instead of genuine excitement and celebration, there's an undercurrent of discomfort and tension. Envy is quiet and subtle, but it is never invisible to those paying attention. You'll notice it clearly in how they respond to your progress and growth. When something good happens to you, they downplay it immediately or compare it to someone else's achievement. When you talk about a new opportunity, they find reasons to doubt it or question it. When you accomplish something meaningful and significant, they shift the focus back to themselves or make a comment that takes the shine off your moment of victory. They never say, "I'm proud of you," without attaching a reminder of their own struggles, sacrifices, or disappointments as context. It's a subtle way of making your achievement feel like an inconvenience to them. The Stoics understood human nature deeply and accurately. Envy, they taught, does not arise from someone else's success or achievement. It arises from another person's unaddressed insecurity and internal emptiness. Marcus Aurelius wrote that people are drawn to envy by their own suffering and inadequacy. Meaning that envy is never truly about you or your accomplishments. It's about the emptiness they refuse to confront within themselves honestly. Your growth exposes what they have avoided facing. Your confidence highlights their self-doubt and insecurity. Your progress threatens the stability of the stories they tell themselves about why they haven't succeeded. But envy becomes dangerous and destructive when it turns into subtle sabotage against you. You may notice they discourage your ambitions repeatedly, plant seeds of doubt in your mind, minimize your accomplishments consistently, or even gossip behind your back to others. They may pretend to support you publicly but resent you privately and deeply. And if the person is family or a longtime friend, the betrayal feels heavier and more painful because the bond was supposed to be safe and supportive. You cannot build a peaceful life while surrounded by people who secretly hope you stay small and limited. When those around you are threatened by your growth, you will shrink yourself without even realizing it's happening. You will share less about your life, dream less about possibilities, and dim your own light just to avoid their discomfort and negative reactions. But your life is not meant to be limited by someone else's insecurity or jealousy. The Stoic response is not to resent them, argue with them, or try to prove your worth to them repeatedly. It is to quietly protect your energy and space. You reduce how much you share with them. You keep your goals guarded and private. You surround yourself with people who celebrate your wins sincerely and genuinely, not conditionally or half-heartedly. A true friend does not compete with you for status. They rise beside you in mutual celebration. When someone's support disappears the moment you rise above them, believe what their silence reveals about their character. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to witness your success and growth. The sixth sign is you always feel like you're walking on eggshells. A relationship becomes emotionally dangerous the moment you realize you are no longer being your authentic self. When every word must be calculated carefully, every reaction measured precisely, every truth softened significantly, and every emotion suppressed completely just to keep the peace, you're not in a genuine relationship. You're in a psychological minefield where any step could trigger an explosion. Walking on eggshells is not a sign of sensitivity or care. It's a sign of fear and anxiety. And fear has no legitimate place in the presence of someone who genuinely cares for you and your well-being. You recognize this pattern immediately. Before you speak, you rehearse your sentences in your head multiple times. Before you disagree, you analyze how they might react and respond. Before expressing anything real or honest, you ask yourself repeatedly, will this upset them? Will they twist this against me? Will they punish me for being honest? Your nervous system becomes hypervigilant constantly, continuously scanning for mood shifts, tone changes, or emotional traps waiting to spring. This isn't connection or intimacy, it's survival mode. People who create this kind of environment often do so through subtle emotional manipulation tactics, guilt trips, unpredictable reactions, passive-aggressive comments, sudden punishing silence, or using your vulnerabilities as ammunition against you. Their inconsistencies keep you perpetually off balance. Their moods dictate the temperature of the entire relationship. And instead of addressing their own emotional instability honestly, they make you responsible for managing it perfectly. You become the caretaker of their chaos while neglecting your own needs. Stoic philosophy warns against giving others this dangerous level of power over you. Epictetus taught that the greatest slavery is emotional dependence on another person's moods, judgments, or approval for your well-being. When you are constantly adjusting yourself to avoid upsetting someone, you lose your autonomy and freedom. You lose your voice over time. You lose your identity and authenticity. You become a version of yourself shaped by fear instead of virtue and truth. Healthy relationships don't require you to shrink or hide yourself. They don't punish honesty, silence your opinions, or make you feel unsafe for expressing yourself authentically. In a healthy dynamic, disagreement is not a threat to the relationship. It's a conversation between equals. Emotions are not weapons to manipulate. They're signals to understand. Honesty is not dangerous or punishable. It's welcomed and encouraged. When someone makes you feel like you must tiptoe around them constantly, it means they benefit from your silence and suppression. They benefit from your hesitation and fear. They benefit from the emotional control they exert without ever openly admitting it or acknowledging it. The Stoic response is clarity and courage in the face of this. You begin to observe without reacting emotionally. You separate their emotions from your responsibility to manage them. You speak firmly, calmly, and truthfully regardless of their reaction. And most importantly, you allow distance to grow where fear has taken root deeply. Because no peace is worth the cost of losing yourself completely. If you cannot relax around someone you supposedly love, that is not love or connection. It is emotional captivity and control. Peace is not found where you must constantly shrink to be safe and accepted. The seventh sign is they do not respect your time, effort, or priorities. One of the most subtle yet devastating forms of disrespect is when someone repeatedly treats your time, your commitments, and your responsibilities as if they are insignificant or optional. They show up late without apology or acknowledgement. They cancel plans at the last minute without consideration. They expect you to rearrange your schedule for their convenience immediately. They interrupt you while you're working on important things, diminish the things you care about deeply, and make you feel guilty for not being available on demand whenever they want. This is not forgetfulness or a personality quirk. It is not a harmless character trait. It is a pattern rooted in entitlement and lack of respect. People who truly value you understand deeply that time is life itself. And when they disregard your time, they're disregarding your life and existence. They assume your world revolves around theirs naturally. They expect your flexibility but offer none in return whatsoever. And when you express frustration about this pattern, they accuse you of overthinking or being too sensitive instead of acknowledging the impact of their behavior on you. Stoic philosophy teaches that time is our most precious possession, more valuable than money or possessions. Seneca wrote that people guard their money fiercely but waste their time carelessly, even though time is the one thing we can never earn back or recover. Someone who consistently intrudes on your time, dismisses your effort, or treats your priorities as optional, is showing you exactly how little they respect you as a person. The danger of this dynamic is how quietly it conditions you to devalue yourself over time. You start adjusting your schedule to avoid conflict with them. You drop your plans because you feel obligated to accommodate them. You begin to prioritize their needs over your own ambitions and goals. You apologize for being busy, for having goals, for having a life outside of them. You shrink your world to fit theirs perfectly. Meanwhile, they continue living freely, unaffected by your sacrifices, unbothered by your stress, and unaware of the sacrifices you keep making for them. Healthy people don't do this to those they value. Healthy people honor your commitments, appreciate your effort genuinely, and recognize the weight of your responsibilities clearly. They respect your work, your routines, your goals, and your time boundaries without question. They don't expect instant replies to messages, emotional labor on demand, or last-minute changes that cost you peace and stability. The Stoic response is to reclaim control of your time with calm, firm boundaries. You stop over-explaining your schedule. You stop rearranging your priorities to accommodate them. You stop apologizing for having boundaries around your time. You begin saying simple phrases like, "I'm not available then. That doesn't work for me." Or, "I already have plans that day." Not with anger or hostility, with clarity and firmness. When someone respects you, they adjust their expectations. When they don't respect you, they push back against your boundaries. And that reaction tells you everything you need to know about whether this relationship deserves a place in your life going forward. If your time is always negotiable to them, but theirs is sacred and protected, you're not being treated as an equal in the relationship. You're being treated as a convenience to use when needed. Your time is sacred and limited. Protect it from those who waste it carelessly. The eighth sign is you feel more peaceful when you distance yourself from them. Sometimes the clearest sign that a relationship has run its course is not something they say or do explicitly. It's how your body reacts when you pull away from them. Pay attention to the quiet truth inside you that speaks volumes. If your mind feels calmer, your chest feels lighter, and your days feel clearer when you're not around someone, that is not coincidence or imagination. That is inner wisdom speaking truth to you. Peace is data about reality. Relief is evidence of toxicity. Think about the last time you spent time with this person specifically. Did you leave feeling tense, drained, or unsettled emotionally? Did you replay the conversation in your head repeatedly, wondering if you said anything wrong? Did you feel the need to recover your energy afterward like you'd run a marathon? Those reactions aren't dramatic or exaggerated. They are indicators of emotional misalignment and incompatibility. Healthy relationships don't leave you feeling depleted or exhausted. Real connection doesn't give you anxiety or stress. Love doesn't feel like obligation, confusion, or exhaustion at its core. What often happens is subtle and gradual. You start shrinking your personality around them, measuring your words carefully, limiting your joy and excitement, or withholding your dreams from them. You may not even realize you're doing it consciously. You just feel safer at a distance from them. That is your nervous system telling you the truth long before your mind is ready to admit it or accept it. Stoic philosophy teaches that the soul recognizes what aligns with virtue and what erodes it over time. Marcus Aurelius wrote that what is good for your nature brings harmony and peace. What is not good brings disturbance and chaos. Peace then becomes the ultimate compass for decisions. When someone's presence creates chaos, but their absence creates clarity, the relationship is speaking for itself clearly. People who are right for your life add stability, inspiration, and calm to your existence. They don't bring constant tension, unpredictability, or self-doubt to your days. They don't force you into emotional recovery mode after every single interaction. The imbalance you feel is a signal about reality, not a flaw in you or your perception. The most dangerous thing you can do is ignore this signal your body sends. Many people stay in draining relationships out of guilt, habit, or loyalty to shared history. But loyalty to your past should never cost you your future and well-being. You do not owe anyone access to your mind or your energy if their presence harms your inner world and peace. Distance is not punishment or cruelty, it's protection and self-care. Space is not cruelty or meanness, it's clarity and wisdom. The Stoic response is to trust the evidence of your own peace completely. You honor your emotional reality without apology or guilt. You create distance without drama or explanations. You choose environments, relationships, and people who help you stay aligned with your highest self and potential, and you allow what is harmful to fade away without chasing closure or lengthy explanation. If distance brings you back to yourself and your peace, that relationship was costing you too much of your life. Peace is the proof of what's right. Always trust it above all else. Here's what all of this comes down to at the core. Relationships are supposed to strengthen you, not drain you of vitality. They are meant to bring clarity, not confusion and doubt. Growth, not guilt and obligation. Peace, not emotional chaos and instability. When the people closest to you repeatedly cross your boundaries, minimize your feelings, take without giving back, or make you shrink to stay connected, that is not love or genuine care. That is erosion of your spirit. And erosion, if ignored long enough, destroys everything from the inside out until nothing remains. Stoic philosophy reminds us that protecting your inner world is not selfish behavior. It is responsible stewardship of your life. Marcus Aurelius wrote that your mind is your kingdom and you must guard it as you would guard something sacred and precious. Walking away from people who damage your peace isn't cruelty or abandonment. It's maturity and wisdom. It's the decision to stop negotiating your worth with those who never intended to value it in the first place. You now have 8 unmistakable signs to listen to carefully, 8 moments of truth that reveal when a relationship has crossed the line from meaningful to harmful. And if one or more of these signs resonated with you deeply, don't ignore that instinct or intuition. Your peace is speaking to you clearly. As you move forward from here, choose clarity over guilt, strength over attachment, and inner peace over outdated loyalty to what no longer serves you. And remember, distance doesn't break real relationships that matter. It only exposes the ones that were never real to begin with. If this message spoke to you, like the video, share it with someone who needs it, and comment below. I choose peace.